Welcome to Schweatys YouTube. Today we're going to be installing the Schweatys for the PlayStation 4 controller. Let me move this for a second. These are what will come with the Schwetty for the PS4. These two pieces here are the tops of the Schwettys. The top Schwettys for the controller. And these two pieces are the rear. If you're looking at the top, this is for the left, this is for the right. If you're looking at the back, this is for the left and this is for the right. So let's get started. I'm going to start with the left left top piece. So the order that you should put these on is you should always do the fronts first. The fronts definitely have a place and it's easier to apply the rears if you have the fronts in place. If you do it the other way around, it'll likely, unless you're just really good and you can tell where they go from my pictures on the website, or whatever, you're just lucky. It's easier to do the front first, then the back. All right. So I just peeled the backing off the Schwetty. If you don't know, or if you haven't watched the Xbox videos, the Schwetty comes with a, wax paper, card paper backing, which is the backing for the glue. And then once the glue or adhesive is applied to the Schwetty, you can peel the backing off pretty easily. So let's get started. The first thing you should know is when applying the Schwetty to the controller, you never want to press too hard. Let's say we were to just place this on here like this. This is how we want to play it with our Schwettys. If you notice how softly I put that down, it's sticky enough to stay on there. It's not going anywhere. But what you'll run into is if you press really hard, you'll essentially activate the adhesive and it'll want to stay there. The glue will want to stay there and not on the Schwetty, and it might become damaged if you press too hard. So I just did the first step in applying the Schwetty. The corner here of the Schwetty fits right in that little nook between the directional buttons, the top of this I don't know what you call it, but the area of the controller, the blue plastic around the directional buttons, this circle, and the column of the knob here, that goes right in that little nook. And then you want to leave about 1 millimeter of space between the Schwetty and the edge of where the directional buttons are. So, and you don't want to apply too much of the rest of the Schwetty to the controller. That's what I need you to focus on first, is getting that millimeter of space around the Schwetty. With the Schwetty around the controller. So all the way around, and just ever so slightly touch that there, so the Schwetty does not want to move. Next step, you want to leave like the smallest amount of space, just so you can see controller between the column here and the Schwetty. So I'm kind of pulling this way, pulling to give me that little bit of space, and then I'm gonna just lay the Schwetty on down right there. I'm gonna leave the bottom up, but that is gonna stay right there. My next step, I'm gonna go from this first corner that I laid down over to this edge here, and then you will notice that I have a bubble here, and a big bubble here. So what we're gonna do is split those bubbles. I'm gonna split this big bubble right in half, and it's gonna make 2 smaller bubbles. Boom. Just as soft as you can lay it down. That's how soft you should lay that down. And then once you have created your two bubbles, we're going to minimize the bubble here by stretching that out. And we're gonna go ahead and lay this one down. Softly lay that down, softly. So if you notice, I created two really small bubbles at the edges before I laid it down. You don't want that because basically you're bunching your adhesive up, you're bunching the fabric up and you're bunching the adhesive up. So you wanna, as much as you can, lay those. See those small bubbles? That will either lay down smoothly or just be like the tiniest little bubble. You will be able to feel it but not necessarily see it. We'll see. I'll show you. See right there, the tiniest little bubble. The way you fix that is you pick it up until the bubble and then you just ride that on. Let that corner absorb that little bubble. I can just, you don't even see it anymore. So now I only have this bubble here. So I'm gonna split this bubble and then I'm gonna smooth it out with my finger so that those bubbles disappear, essentially. I'm gonna ride this one out to the corner and I only have this to lay down. Boom. And we have a pretty nicely laid top Schwetty there. I'm gonna fast forward through this side because it's basic. It is the same piece except backwards. So I'm gonna hyperlapse through the installation of that one and we'll get started to the back. All right, so I wanted to pause the video for a second, come back to live footage to show you something. What happens when you press really hard on the Schwetty to basically cement the adhesive? I was not able to show this happening in the Xbox video, but this is what happens. Basically the adhesive wants to stick more to the controller than it does the Schwetty. This is not a huge issue, but it's the result of pressing. I did this side and I really pressed this side down because I thought I was done, but I noticed just the smallest like micron bubble and I wanted to fix it. And when I raised the Schwetty back up, the adhesive had basically begun to cement, and that is an issue that you will run into if you it has the chance of doing that. So you have to be, if you get to a point where you lay it down really good and then you go back and you want to fix something, you might run into that issue. So I think I did pretty good. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. And now we're gonna go to the rear piece. All right, this is the rear right piece. I know this because this long edge matches this long edge. All right, so now we're on to the back. The first piece we're gonna do is the rear right. I know this is the rear right because this long edge of this piece matches the long edge of this piece, and that is where we're going to start applying this Schwetty. All right, so the top edge of this piece is going to match the top edge of this piece, and same with down at the bottom. And that's going to be about 1 millimeter or just maybe a tad bit more than a millimeter of space between the two Schwettys. So that's how we're going to start or begin to lay them down. So that might be a tad too close, but we'll start just to get a feel for everything. And as we lay this down, you'll see that there's a slight curve to the first Schwetty, the top Schwetty. We want to match that curve with the bottom Schwetty, leaving the same amount of space between them and not stretching them. So you'll see that this piece is a lot further down than this piece. It shouldn't be that way. So what we're going to do to fix that is move it up a little bit and away a little bit. Just a little bit. Same issue. Looks good as far as corners matching. And we're just gonna wrap this around. So this notch here was built to wrap around this screw. So we're gonna go that way just to make sure it lays where it needs to. And then these inside corners will also mirror each other. And we have a bubble on the inside. We're going to split that bubble, lay the part of the bubble that's really deep into the Schwetty, lay it down, make sure it's firm, and then go straight down the middle, laying it down as you go, so it's nice and even. And smooth it out. And that's the first piece. And we're going to hyperlapse through the other half, and I'll be back shortly. All right, and it's as simple as that. Super easy install as long as you follow my instructions. The pieces are made to lay just as I lay them, and you are ready to play. Thank you for watching this PlayStation install. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Like, subscribe. Thank you for watching Schwettys on YouTube. Peace.